Today we welcome India Eisley, American actress known for her roles in television, dramas, and genre films, often portraying intense or complex characters. Welcome, India.
Cover your love for acting.
I like when I was a kid, you know, like I was a weird kid, but obviously it's a shocker. But but really like playtime for me, I wasn't antisocial. I was very shy. But
Mhm.
but for me, like what was fun for me was, going up to my room or wherever, because we moved over like 20 times with me growing up. So again, job to job, wherever we could afford, we would live. Um, so uh, so like for me, fun time was being in my room and watching movies, and I would automatically just like memorize scenes and memorize
Wow.
things and just act them out on my own in my room. And I found that infinitely more fun and interesting than playing with other kids, with Barbies. Like I just never
Yeah.
but there was always a self-awareness as a kid where I was like, and it sounds depressing, but I would like watch other kids and I was like, wow, they're having such fun with this Play-Doh. I wish I could enjoy it the same way they're enjoying it. And I was always really confused because I was like, why can't I enjoy what they're enjoying? Very
Weird.
odd. But as far as it was very evident that pretending to be other people was gonna be
Yeah.
my thing.
Did your mom notice very early on that you want to be an actress?
Well,
Oh.
the thing that made her laugh was, I guess when I was like really tiny, I had done a drawing, and it was like one of those drawings of like kids do of their family.
Yeah.
And and she said, I noticed that you drew our family, but then you drew a random stick figure because I'm horrible at drawing. And she said, but you put like an arrow by it, and it said random character. And she said you were like 5 years old, and she said at that moment I was like, I'm
Oh.
gonna be an actress.
Did she give you advice about like going into the business?
Not really, because I mean, you know, I know it sounds contradictory to the I didn't grow up in Hollywood thing, but I did grow
Yeah.
up in pets. And
Yeah.
so very aware of the negatives of the business. I think, she wasn't one to kind of, advise like that. If I had specific questions about anything, then she would, you know, be there, obviously, and weigh in from her experience. But as far as just getting into the business as a whole, she knew that I was already aware of
Yeah.
rejecting 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so as far as just, you know, the initial advice, it was kind of without saying it. We went without saying.
Yeah, but speaking about your mom, do you think, as a mother, now we are mothers, did she feel pressure going back to work and you were a little kid, like, oh, I need to do this role, but I feel bad, like, I want to be. Did you ever speak about it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, now that I've said about like the business manager
Yeah,
and what went down shortly after I was born,
so terrible.
it was very much like need work, need work, need work.
Yeah,
In the same went for my father, any music gigs and stuff, it was like just doing anything to get by and support the family. And
that's not easy.
so
I
I
mean,
I had
yeah.
shit timing when I came into the world.
Yeah, I always say like I have a timing
The
in
world time.
general. It always feels like chaotic, and I like almost I feel like Tom Cruise jumping off the cliff, like to kind of like fix the life or whatever. So it's like,
Jumping off something, he's jumped off of everything. It's
yeah, I think it was the train, the cliff, yeah, like motorcycle. Yeah, that's kind of me. Like, but like, I just and I admire like you what they did with you, like as a daughter. Like, it's okay. Hollywood, not like a really regular story, but like you were very aware of reality. Yeah, very. I don't think other people are like other the kids of famous parents. I don't think they are aware of reality like you are.
I mean that's nice.
Yeah, pages
Okay,
to,
but I think it's, you know, everyone's individual. I think, you know, it depends on, ultimately it just depends on the upbringing, because, you know, it's like I've met kids of, you know, very famous people, and they are very grounded and very, you know, they might not have experienced struggle in the same way, but there's
yeah,
the bevy of struggles, you know, of trying to prove yourself, and kind of in the resentment, which I did not have this. This is
yeah.
someone else, but of like a resentment of, oh, well, I don't have to work for this, and I have a trust fund, and there's a
Uh,
comes with
yeah,
that I don't relate to. But,
yeah,
you know, you know, it's having compassion for every person that, you know.
yeah. Like they wanna prove, but they kind of don't need to. So it's like almost like you are in a shadow of what your parents did. I get it, kind of. Like I really do. Yeah, it's I don't know. I think it's how she said, how they were brought up. Like
Yeah.
if you feel you need to constantly prove. That's emotionally like so taxing. I think.
Yeah, it's almost, you know, it's I mean, I'm not comparing it totally, but it's like if you can imagine like being born into the royal family,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like there's an immediate pressure and standard that you have to meet.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, well, what would they know of? And it's like, it's a whole other experience that they're having. So, you know,
I
but
actually watched. I love your. I'm sorry, but I love your actually kind of the input about it. Yeah. I just recently finished Victoria, about Queen Victoria. It was only 3 seasons. I don't know why this was canceled on a Netflix.
was it the one with Olivia Colman?
Yes.
Oh, she was lovely. That was, Mum and I watched it. It was
And
lovely.
it's so they stopped certain season, and then like a little boy who is like he's supposed to be a king one day, and he said, "I don't want to be a king," but he was aware since he was a little boy. Yeah. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, man. I was like,
Yeah.
that is the pressure.
Yeah, they have it mapped out for them. It's like, these are the requirements. These are their entire life is mapped out for them already. And that's like an unimaginable.
Like you want it or not, it's there. Like
Yeah.
Prince George, he can't say no. I mean, technically he can, but it's like kind
He's
of like
adorable, actually.
he-
By the way, I think he was the cutest royal baby.
yeah.
And now he's like 12 years old, almost tall as his mom. I'm like, what? How you grew up this fast?
I know.
Well, I'm one of those millennials who can't accept the fact that people were born in the 2000s.
Me too. Oh my God.
A two in front, I'm like,
I expect them still, if you were born in 2000s, to be kind of like little. So I'm like, when you see 2000s and they are adults, I'm so shocked.
At least we lived through the flip phones.
Yeah,
I love the flip phones.
Me
no,
too.
I really miss my flip phone.
Me too.
I loved the Razor. I still have it. I found it.
Same.
I found it in a box somewhere, and I just wanted to cry. I was just like, no. Because, you know, the whole.
Yeah, because much. Because now you are so reachable. Like even like at work, they know you have iPhone or whatever, Samsung, and it's like they know you saw an email if they want you, you know, like, and it's like, why didn't you answer? You can't say, hey, it's like not business hours, really, because like it seems like now business hours are completely constantly with raise their phone. There was no really going on internet or live, you know, like somebody's having a fight. Maybe you record it, but resolution is so bad that you are not going to do anything about it. But now it's like, you know,
it ruins some, I think, let's say,
mystery.
Yeah, I expect people to cancel 5 minutes before we made arrangements.
True.
Because
They mostly do.
so I'm shivering still when I make arrangements. I'm like, I'm shivering till this happens. And I was like, it might be canceled last minute, because now you can do it. It seems like you can do it. When we used to make arrangements like with a landline and you did not have a phone yet,
like you go out
you
or whatever.
had to just show up, and people showed up.
You had to show up and say, yo, I can't really stay longer. But not like now it's like, hey, can we postpone? That's what I constantly get at. I'm like, you know what? I told my couple of new mom friends. I say, see you in 2027.
What was the best advice she ever gave you?
For life?
Yeah, life.
I mean, you know,
Something that you maybe think now, or
but like verbal advice. It's more just, you know, she just raised me to be kind.
yeah, we know that you are.
We know that.
However, people make it difficult.
Yeah, they do. They do.
I'd like to think that I'm a very kind person. I'm not. It's not in the same way as my mom. I always try to. I've never, for all of my faults, I will say I have never intentionally gone out to hurt someone.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. We were raised like that too.
The only way I would do that would be if someone fucked with someone I cared about. Forgive my language. I don't know if that's
No.
Yeah.
I'm totally with you on that.
But that's the only time that really sets me off is if
me too.
care about, then I turn into Medusa. So and it's not
What is your favorite role?
really fucking fast. But
Yeah.
That's a kindness I think people forget nowadays, and that you can actually go a little bit out of your way to help somebody. But people don't like helping. They like to avoid that nowadays. But speaking of career, what's your favorite movie you did?
Or
favorite
or
role?
Yeah.
Or a show?
I did. I mean, I've done a lot of cards, to be honest.
It's so amazing.
I will say, for people that aren't in the industry, they don't. I don't think they quite grasp that working actors, don't have say over what projects they're in. It's not like we're behind a gold desk and have script. Not that one. And it's like, and so they're like, why aren't you in better movies? And it's like,
what?
I would be if given the opportunity, dude. Like, sorry. Right. I'm doing the best with the hand that I've been dealt. You know, but as far as not to knock my entire filmography, there are a few.
I get it. It's amazing.
As far as like a project as a whole, I was like proud of. I did love being a part of I'm the Night.
I thought you
mainly is because Patty Jenkins, who is just a dear friend, and I'm not doing it in a thing way. She is a genuine friend, just real, just no bullshit whatsoever. She's just a real person.
I love it.
And
was it hard to sleep? Sorry.
But like I'm the Night, you know, everyone involved with it was just such a joy.
Yeah.
And it was my mom's. I feel like I'm sounding so morose on this, but my mom's second bout of cancer, and I had taken the year off I couldn't read for anything. It was like round the clock. I had to be there for her.
Wow.
And so she was going through chemo and radiation, and then I called my agents. She was stable enough at that point, not fully in remission, but I called my agents and was like, okay, I can audition for things. And they were like, okay. And I'm the Night happened to be like my second audition back.
Oh, wow.
And at first they got the breakdown wrong, where the breakdown is what the description of the character is.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't know. And it said mixed race. And I was like, and I just, my mom while she was having her chemo, bless her, and stuff. And I was like, Mom, I'm just going to go outside and make a phone call to Kevin, my agent, and stuff. And she's like, okay, darling. And I went outside and I was like, Kevin, I just saw the email about the Patty Jenkins project, which sounds amazing, but like, not to sound rude, but like, you do remember what I look like, right?
That's a great.
Shut up. Just know that they got it wrong in the. And he said, and he explained to me what the storyline was, and
I love that.
I was like on pin and needles.
We were like binging it, and I allowed it. But are people surprised with your accent when they first meet you?
My accent has caused so much confusion with people.
I love it, actually. But
as early interviews of me when I was on The Secret Life and on the show, I sounded American, and it was because it was just easier. I've always had this kind of like weird kind of
Yeah.
of an accent,
Yeah.
and people are like, it's fake and stuff, and it's like, no, it's because I grew up like all
Yeah,
over.
exactly.
All over. Yes.
And but like when doing the show, because I was on it for 5 years, it was just easier to just be in that.
Yeah. You had to be in a character for a very long time.
Yeah.
It was just easier to be in that, and people
Is
can
it hard to transfer to American accent?
not really, no.
Wow.
Because I never transferred. This is it.
Well, and also because I don't have a full-on English accent. It's like I can push it and sound posh if I need to,
Yeah.
Oh.
but it's a very like, again, it's a blob. Like it's just this weird, like it, like I'll get, auditions for things where it's like, use your natural accent, and I'm like, okay, am I going to be doing full Brit or full American? Because there's no demand for whatever the hell this.
Yeah.
Like,
Your accent sounds so divine, so calm. I was like, do you want to go for a tea time? You know?
Yeah, with gloves, like let's do that. Like, oh my gosh. Was your mom a coffee or tea drinker?
She was a coffee drinker for most of her life, I think. But then towards when she started getting sick and stuff, and we didn't know she was sick yet, but she started transitioning over to tea.
Yeah.
And what about you?
Well, I went a couple of years where I cut out coffee completely, and I looked better, I felt better, and then suddenly I was on a job, and it was like all night shoots, and all they had was coffee.
Yeah.
Quicker than getting a cup of tea, and so and I'm very specific about my tea when I have it.
How you have it?
Oh my gosh, I want to know because I love tea too.
Same.
PG tips.
Okay.
But anyway, they never do it right on set. If you ask someone, can you make a cup of tea outside of England, they don't.
No, they don't.
So do you drink tea with milk?
Yes.
Us too.
No, it's because that's actually my one kind of. I'm not a strict. I don't have a strict diet and stuff, but like that's the one thing is alternative milks don't work for a real tea.
No, they don't.
That's true.
Ivana and I actually, we started drinking tea with milk actually very early on, like a teenagers, because our math tutor, she drank it like that, and Ivana and I adopted her way. It was like a special time, the way she will prepare for us, and then okay, we go to study, and I think just recently, a couple of years back, because coffee will give me like shakes or anxiety, and I was like, I really wanna say, so
I do it.
and it still happens.
That I was doing the tea thing for a couple of years. It was during I'm the Night.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the next job I got, I just flipped. It was during a night shoot, and I was just like, I'm having coffee. It's easier. And boom.
Yeah.
It was back on the coffee train. And
I think I got on a coffee train because whenever we will visit Croatia, my dad loved drinking coffee.
Yeah.
And he likes to like sit and talk, European way. And I said, I really want to do it for him, but I will always like get this, it's too strong
Shakes,
for me, like shakes and like anxiety. But then somehow I pushed through it. And I said, I just want to have that time with him. And that's how we started drinking coffee. A routine, like something is doing for me.
yeah,
but it's not.
Because I don't have an addictive personality and stuff, but it just becomes a very, ingrained thing.
Exactly.
Whereas,
almost like I'm brushing my teeth and having my coffee.
And also in times like this where everything seems so stressful, and so you want one thing to be consistent in your day. It's like
I love it too.
Coffee is gonna be
the one thing that really will happen. Oh my gosh, you said it so right. How many cup of you have a day?
Normally two.
Yeah, I have like one and then maybe two, but like
maybe we'll have another one when we
why not? Like
or a cup of tea at 5. That is almost here.
Oh my god.
But are you a type that if you have a coffee very late, you cannot fall asleep?
Yeah, I mean, there was a period of time though where I was up to like 7 cups a day. So
I know everybody gets to that point.
It was COVID.
Yeah, now
Oh, yeah. I mean, COVID, like, I think, effed with us, all of us. I think I can say fuck, like, whatever. Fuck with us completely because, like, I did not have a pattern because you are working from
Yeah.
home. You are, but then there is no pattern. Like, I would be binging, believe it or not, Naked and Afraid. It's like a show where they are in a
Yeah.
wilderness for 40 days. And you're like,
we
wait,
became obsessed.
we became obsessed to the point that we are like, next episode, next. And then you do need to get up in the morning, but you are home.
Weird.
And
It's like, what is the morning?
Yeah.
yeah, like,
Morning didn't exist much.
no.
Did you ever have blonde hair? Did you ever?
No, it's funny because like I have been so tired of looking the same. It's one job aside from I'm the Night where it was like I had like 9 layers of makeup to make me look less,
Yeah.
like so me look less anemic, which I am. But there was one job called American Outlaws.
Mhm.
It really, aside from I'm the Night, I loved being in Look Away. The project didn't really turn out how we all thought it was.
Yeah.
It has a it's like, who are you marketing this to? It was very strange,
Mhm.
but I loved playing the split personality, loved working with Jason Isaacs and Mira Sorvino, and that was a great crew and really fun job. But American Outlaws, back to the hair color, it was the first time that I was allowed to like change my hair color for a role and be a redhead, which
Wow. You look so beautiful.
I love red.
I had so much fun not having the long dark hair. So I'm like desperate for a role to come around where they're like, we want you to be blonde. And I would
Yeah.
be
You'll
like,
be like, yeah, that's it.
I
Like,
think you have like the look where any hair color looks good.
me too.
well, I get bored easily, and so it gets a bit maddening.
Your hair is so healthy and beautiful. My God. Okay.
Stop it.
People with perfect hair.
Had beautiful hair too. Like, I remember when I was back in Croatia as a child watching her as a Virgin Mary. And as a child, I thought that's how Virgin Mary really looked,
Yeah.
and always would picture it. And then later, like, when we met her in a way, okay, not in person, unfortunately, but like, I always thought, in my, like, say your prayers, and I always thought that's how
Like
she,
you envision something.
she was so beautiful and like angelic, like, I don't know.
Pure. What
Yeah.
was her favorite role?
My mom, she had a very childlike thing about her.
Aww,
Yeah.
I love that.
It was very, which, it goes one way or the other,
Yeah,
it pros and cons. She got
of
her
course.
in her life because she was very trusting, and so I'm very similar to her in many ways, but not that way.
Yeah.
What was her favorite role that she will talk about?
Oh God.
She had so many.
I think she really loved playing Mother Teresa.
Oh,
Yeah.
she transformed for that role.
She had been she'd been wanting to do that role for like, well over 20 years.
I actually read that somewhere and I'm like, is it really true? I was like, I really want to know. So it is.
Yeah, I mean, the production could have been much better, speaking objectively, but she was on like 9 different antibiotics when filming. It was because I went with her and my dad went with her, and it was like 3 months in Sri Lanka and 2 months in, and it was, which was awesome as a kid. I mean, that was like,
Yeah.
but yeah, she really, really worked herself to the bone on that job. And
Yeah.
if I were to guess, I mean, I can't ask her obviously, but I think that was probably her favorite.
Oh my God, but like, she really transformed, like,
Romeo and Juliet, I think she also was stuck in our mind that for years I wouldn't accept the new version.
no.
In my mind, I couldn't. I mean, I was back in Croatia. I couldn't accept it. And we really love Claire Danes.
Yeah.
We adore. And I'm like, but I couldn't accept
No.
it. I was like, I can't accept it. And so I had a lot of things like,
I think a lot of like movies should not be repeated. Like, okay, everybody's doing Romeo and Juliet, but like, I don't know if they ever go and redo Godfather. I'm out. I'm out.
No, they can't.
Yeah. So actually, yes, 2 days ago, I'm a huge fan of John Cazale. He's one of my favorite actors, and we watched Dog Day Afternoon, and
I love that movie.
Really?
that's
Oh my
my
God.
I quote every single, sometimes randomly, in the kitchen. I say, "Sonny, I'm not a homosexual." All of a sudden, and they die laughing. How much I love that movie, and I think he was epic. So I wanted to Google to see who was Leon in the TV, and it was Susan Sarandon's first husband. That I was shocked because for me he did fantastic
He
job.
was Leon to
He
me.
was Leon. And I go and it's on Broadway, and I open the photo. Who is playing them? I can't now name names. I have forgetful mind, and I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I'm
it did
like,
not look good.
Why would you transform this iconic movie? It's just it's supposed to be Al Pacino and John Cazale. That's it.
That's it, and stays forever. Like,
But
but I do think it's easier for males than females. Still everywhere in any industry. So
do you
I don't know.
agree?
Sorry?
It is easier for males in an industry.
I think honestly, I think it's just a difficult industry in general. I think because I can't speak from a male perspective, and so as far as equality and stuff, if we're talking true equality, it's like you have to kind of level the playing field where we're all just human beings. So I think men have their own issues, and I mean, obviously women had a hard time in the business just for different reasons. Men are scrutinized just as much, but especially since Me Too, it's now flipped where it's like men have to be very.
That's soft, man. I don't get it.
And it's still that way. With I think with any kind of movement, if the pendulum swings too far in one direction, you lose the point of the movement, which is equality.
Yeah.
And it becomes like one side pitted against the other, and that it defeats the purpose. And so, I think that I mean, women, we do it. There's always been scrutiny. It's just a rough business. The scrutiny for everyone in the business.
Yeah.
I am very for women and women's rights and all, of course. But I do think that if it's about equality, it should be balanced. And I don't think that's found really.
I think just loving people for who they are. Doesn't matter your gender or whatever you come from. If you show love and, like you said, kindness, I think everything is gonna go smoothly. But not everybody thinks like that.
Because I do think that a lot of whatever sex you are, it's some people are just cunning and they are gonna like do whatever it takes to get what they want.
Do you have any like a fun story from the shoot, or like, I don't know, some experience?
With shoot.
I don't know, something whichever, like something that stood out and it was very funny. And you always refer to like we refer to our dad being like very brutally honest about our hair. Like, I don't know, a fun story about I don't know, a role or a co-star or experience in Hollywood.
That's a great reaction. That's an answer.
Yeah, that was like sounds like a scary story.
Yeah,
I mean, there are a lot of stories that are just odd and frightening.
Like it's a scary movie out there.
Yeah, it's
a fun one though, because I feel like for this entire time I've sounded like a bummer.
No, you didn't at all. I think I did.
No, it's honest. I love honesty.
Well, I'm welcome to. I'm more than happy to be honest. And as far as a fun story, I will say that a highlight for me was working with Samuel Jackson. And there was this one scene, and unfortunately it didn't make it into the film. It was a film called Kite, which it should have been much better, but the director died 3 weeks before filming. And so
Oh
they
my
got
God.
wrapping the project because the money was already involved. They
Yeah.
quickly hired a director last minute to fill his shoes, but he wasn't familiar with, he did it the best he could, but he
Yeah.
didn't have a, it was based on an anime, on a very
Mhm.
controversial, almost like verging on hentai anime. Anyway, so it ended up being what it was, but Sam, there was this one scene in particular where my character, she was kind of withdrawing from drugs and all of this, and because he was keeping her drugged. And anyway, you'd have to see it.
I will definitely tonight.
You'd have to see it, and then I'd pay you back for the money you spent renting it. But there was a scene where he, and this isn't outing him. I don't. He's never gonna. He doesn't watch my interviews, but
Yeah.
we were going back and forth, and we went off book, and he kind of went dry on the lines. And obviously it's his face. Like, we all know what he looks like.
Yeah.
Got really wide, and because he was supposed to be really angry and stuff, and I remember just being like, and then I just like threw myself on the floor and stuff, and and the scene went into a completely different direction and ended up turning into this really dramatic, cool thing where we were just like screaming at each other, and I was crying, and it was this fun thing. Didn't make it into the cut again, but it was. I remember that day in particular was so just. I mean, every day with him was awesome, but that in particular was a very fun day. And then just like we shared like iPod, the headphones and stuff, because he was like, "Damn, this looks like my iPod."
Oh my gosh, I love that, because like you would read when actors go off script, and like when you
like improvising, right?
improvising, like and like makes the cut. Like, I wish it made a cut.
Actually, Dog Day Afternoon, they did a lot of improvising. When he says Wyoming, that was genuine reaction of Al Pacino. And the crowd, I Googled later, it actually was regular people just got together, and the movie was shot. And I'm like, this is so great. It seemed like, they were not directed what to do, and it brought this flavor. I can't explain.
So shame about that scene, because I love these like stories like that. It's like, but it wasn't in a script, and they did it. Wow, like, I don't know.
No, I mean, there was, and I think it depends on who's at the helm. There are so many, it has to be a director who's very confident, and I think the sign of a strong director is just them hiring the cast that they trust and letting them do their own thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Like overbearing and stuff, and just allowing people to play. And because there are so many time constraints on productions now, where it's like, hey, we're going to shoot a film in 10 days. And it's like, okay,
I need to prepare.
Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Are you telling a story? Or are you just trying to meet a deadline?
Yeah, that's true.
Very like paint by numbers a lot of the time now with work. And, it's a shame, because there are so many authentic, just, exciting, fun, just off the wall things that happen when you improvise. And it just depends on if you have a director that allows you to do that, and an editor that keeps it in, and if how tight the director is with the editor. And it's a team effort, and I think the more time constraints that are being put on people, it's kind of squelching the creativity out of everyone involved.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Is it hard to be recognized, and your mom probably went through this, like when people stop you constantly on the street or ask for a photo? Is that hard? Or was it hard for her too?
Being recognized?
Yeah.
People don't recognize me very often when I go